What up, is Marcus? We are doing the waiver wires this week. Now, there's going to be a couple players that should be owned, and if you don't have them on your roster, if they're still available, you need to snag some of these guys up right now. But if you're new to the channel, we have a DeAndre Swift signed jersey. When we hit 2K, we'll be giving it away to one of you guys. Now, number one is going to be a duel because they should be both owned in every league, but of course they're not. And it is Latavius Murray and Kenyon Drake. And so Latavius Murray has looked like the better running back in Denver and scored last week as well. And so Latavius Murray is definitely a player that I want for the rest of the year. I mean, these two players could be valuable for the next couple of weeks because Kenyon Drake scored as well in the receiving game. And Gus Edwards hurt. J.K. Dobbins on IR, so we have a big, huge kind of issue. And Gus Edwards is still, he had a major knee injury last year, an ACL injury last year. So we still don't know if he can stay healthy. So Kenyon Drake, Latavius Murray should be owned in every single league. And if not, there's a lot of players that you should be able to drop for one of those two running backs. Number two is going to be Caleb Huntley, 15 for 86. He's been the better running back when it becomes between him and Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier better in the receiving game, but Caleb Huntley, 15 for 86 last week. Somebody that I think should be rostered in many leagues here, especially if you need running backs. There's a lot of running backs that have been just poorly performing. Definitely a good fill-in would be Caleb Huntley. Number three is, and these are not necessarily, and these are all roster dependent, because right, if you need a tight end, you're not going to be picking up the next guy I'm saying, or a wide receiver. So Kyren Williams is a player that if you need a running back fill-in spot, we don't know what the running back situation is going to be for the Rams. Are they going to trade for Kareem Hunt? Or are they just going to play with Rivers and Kyren Williams? And Kyren Williams was a highly sought-after player until he hit the combine and he ran like he had weights on his shoes, just ran incredibly slow, and then was drafted late into the NFL draft. And so again, those are definitely issues, but he's very capable in the receiving game. And so another player that, again, might be one of those guys that gets you through a couple of weeks, through some of these bye weeks, through some of these injuries. I like Kyren Williams. Number four, Greg Dulcich is I would say tied for the number one tight end pickup, potentially, because there's going to be a tight end injury that we're going to talk about that could could change the next week or two landscape of the tight end area. But Greg Dulcich, 11.1 in all three games that he has played. And he had a really big play. He was 4 or 5 targets, so 5 targets, 4 receptions for 87 yards, and nearly had a touchdown. I mean, he had a really good game considering that I thought he was not going to have a good game against the Jaguars. I had him as one of my benches of the week because I thought he was going to struggle this game, but I did say potentially stash because he could be somebody down the road here, and he has looked really good. And even though he's a rookie, he's looked good. Number 5, Rondale Moore, and I feel like this is one of those players that we've talked about because Marquise Brown hurt. We knew that Rondale Moore was going to be kind of that short guy, and DeAndre Hopkins was going to be the longer guy, especially with James Conner being hurt still too. Rondale Moore, 8 targets, 7 for 92 and a touchdown. You're going to see a lot of these games where Rondale Moore is going to be targeted 8 times. The biggest question is, can he get the yards? Because he's going to have some games where you're going to have 7 catches for 30 yards and no touchdown, and that's 10 points, or it's going to be, standard, he's going to have a huge dip. In PPR, it's going to be a huge upgrade. He's one of the biggest variable players when it comes from standard to PPR. And so, Rondale Moore, again, if you're in half point, he's okay. He's a fine player if you're going to throw him at your kind of flex spot. Somebody's trying to call me. No. Don't call me right now. The next player is going to be Devin Duvernay. Rashad Bateman out for a couple of weeks here. Devin Duvernay, they just seem to use him everywhere. In the running game, the returning game, the receiving game. He gets targeted in the end zone at times too. So Devin Duvernay is definitely a wide receiver that I am looking at for the next couple of weeks to get me through, again, some of these bye weeks. Some of these, he's just one of those, a couple week filler. But he has actually shown to be pretty decent so far. Isaiah Likely. We need to talk about Isaiah Likely because Mark Andrews, if you're a Mark Andrews owner, whether it's Dynasty or Redraft, Dynasty is going to be a lot harder to get him, but in Redraft, this is a tight end handcuff. And especially, let's just say Mark Andrews comes back and let's say he never misses time. Isaiah Likely is somebody that you should roster, especially when you start getting closer to playoffs, or if you're a team that is 6-1, 7-1 now, 7-1, or if you're a team that gets to be that point where you're 10-2, 10-3, and you're getting ready for that playoff mode, Isaiah Likely is the guy that you need to handcuff. It's a tight end handcuff, weird, but Lamar Jackson loves the tight end position, and Isaiah Likely looks like the real deal when he's actually playing. But then when the Mark Andrews comes out, it's like Isaiah Likely just disappears, which is fine. So Isaiah Likely, 6 for 77 and a touchdown last week. So again, this is just preseason hype over. I almost wish that Isaiah Likely wasn't on that team or maybe they just use him as a wide receiver because he looks actually really good. The next guy, Treylon Burks, again, injured. Tennessee is a mess in the receiving game right now. It just seems like no one wants to show, no receiver wants to have value, but Treylon Burks is somebody that could explode here into the second half of the year. Definitely worth a pickup, especially if you're a contending team or need a flyer. Number 9, Justin Fields. They just want to run with Justin Fields, and that's perfectly fine for fantasy. It doesn't have to be sexy, doesn't have to be good, but Justin Fields is definitely one of those players that I am wanting to stream or fill in some of these spots. I would rather have him over Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady in redraft, which is crazy to think about, but that's what I'm thinking. And the last one, Joshua Palmer. Know that Mike Williams is going to be out for a couple of weeks, so Joshua Palmer might fill into some of these games where you're going to have 6 for 77, which is going to be a fine fill-in. It's not going to be something amazing, but he's going to be a fine fill-in, kind of like Tyler Boyd, but Tyler Boyd's a better fill-in when Jamar Chase is gone because Tyler Boyd can even work on his own, even if both wide receivers are there, okay? This is Marcus, Nice Simple Dads. Peace out. We will see you Thursday for the start of the week.